friends, so this week we are talking about contrast, so we're going to make our own gumball machines using contrasting colors, also called complementary colors. I'm going to set this aside and talk about what we need. Excuse me, my throat is a little dry. You're going to want glue, scissors, pencil eraser. You're going to want some markers, crowns, colored pencils, something to color in with. I have these markers. I also have a black marker to help me outline. If you have it, an extra piece of foil, it's super shiny. A white piece of paper, and then you're going to want 2 pieces of colored paper. And what 2 pieces you use matter, because you want to use 2 pieces of paper that are complementary colors. So I'm going to start out with our primary colors, being blue, red, yellow. So these colors are our primary colors because we mix them together in different ways to make every other color. So our complementary or contrasting colors include our secondary. So I'm going to put in orange, and I put that in between red and yellow because that's what it mixes to make. Green is going to go in between yellow and blue. And then lastly, purple goes in between blue and red. So complementary colors are colors that are across from each other on the color wheel, like blue and orange, red and green, yellow and purple. Because they're across from each other on the color wheel, they're opposites. So using those 2 colors next to each other creates contrast because they're so different. They complement each other and help each other stand out. So you're going to want 2 pieces of colored paper, and you're going to want to use one of these color sets. So for your 2 pieces of paper, you could use orange and blue, red and green, or you can be like me and use yellow and purple. You want a white piece of paper as well. So we got a lot of stuff out. I'm going to get most of this stuff out of the way, and we're going to start with our first step, which is the top of our gumball machine. So if you have something that's circular, that can help you with drawing out your circle. I'm actually tracing around this, but not exactly around it, because I want the top of my gumball machine to be a little bit bigger. So if your circle is not perfect, that is okay, because, you know, what in the world is perfect? So once I have the shape for the top of my gumball machine, I'm going to cut it out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab those primary and secondary colors that I had earlier, and I am going to draw in some gumballs into my gumball machine. So here is the top of my gumball machine. And now I'm going to add my primary and secondary colors, and I'm going to color in some gumballs all the way around here. You can make your gumball machine halfway full, you can make it all the way full. That is up to you. But the first thing we're going to do is make the top of our gumball machine. So I'm going to add in some gumballs in red, blue, yellow, and then purple, green, and orange. So I'm just going through and I'm adding them around kind of in random spots. I'm not thinking too much about this part. I'm just kind of filling it in. So I'm going to get my gumballs filled in, and then we're going to work on our gumball machine and all the different parts that we're going to need to draw and cut out and glue together to make our gumball machine. Alright, so we have the top of our gumball machine now, but I'm going to set that aside, and now I'm going to grab my colored paper. I'm going to grab one of my pieces of colored paper first, and I'm going to fold it. Yeah, maybe I'll fold it this way. I'm deciding how skinny or how thick I want my gumball machine to be. I think if I fold it in half, it's a little too thick for my gumball machine. So I'm going to draw a straight line. And this is about the size of my hand. So not halfway, a little under halfway. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my black marker and I'm going to add a huge swirly line. And I'm going to cut it out. So this is going to be for my gumball machine. I'm going to set that aside, and now using this extra paper, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw our next thing that we need, which is the top of our gumball machine. So for that, I'm going to draw one round line, and then another round line like that. It almost looks like a little moon. And again, I'm going to cut that out. And this is going to go on the top of our gumball machine. Set aside the piece that I just cut out, and now I'm going to grab my next paper. And what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to make the base for my gumball machine. So I'm going to take my yellow paper so I can make for sure it's the right size. And I'm going to draw two lines coming down. And then I'm going to connect them at the bottom. I think that could be a little more even. There we go. And now I'm going to make the top of our gumball machine. So I'm going to move this down again. And I'm going to draw two lines coming up. And then I'm going to make a scoop, and then a round line. In between these two, I'm going to draw a little upside down U, and then I'm going to add a curved line to it. So now I'm going to get these pieces cut out, and then we can start putting together our gumball machine, which I think these are going to come out really nice. I'm excited about it. So I'm going to get these cut out, and then we'll start gluing everything together. And I would draw in pencil first. I drew in marker first so you could see what I was drawing for my video a little bit better. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our pieces and we're going to start to assemble our gumball machine. So we have our gumball machine, and then we would add on our base, and then our top. So I'm going to get these glued down like this, and then we're going to move on to our next step. Alright, so our contrasting gumball machine is starting to come together. We just have a last few little details to add. So I'm going to take this part from my yellow paper that I added my swirly line to. I'm going to get it right here, and then I'm going to take my base and I'm going to glue that down as well. So now, ooh, look at that, my glue is freaking out. Let me just close that and then just a little dip. Okay. Beautiful. So now if you remember, I grabbed a piece of foil towards the beginning, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my last few details using this piece of foil. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to cut a little square, and I'm going to glue that down here. tour. So I'm going to cut another little square. And I'm going to glue that right at the bottom. But before I glue it, I'm going to draw a circle on here. And then add in a few lines. So this would be where the gumball would come out of. So I'm going to get this all glued up. And then we're going to cut out where you would put your coin into. So I have that right here now. It's kind of hard to see because it's so shiny, it's like reflective. And now for the top of my gumball machine, instead of making it a square, it's going to be a little bit skinnier and it's going to be a rectangle, which means it's going to be a little bit more longer than it is wide. And for this one, I'm going to add a skinny little rectangle where you could put in your coin, a little button where you can stop it if you need to, and then another little square here at the bottom. And I'm going to glue this in the middle right here. Now, if you want, you could always go back and add all different sorts of patterns onto your project if you want to. I really like it just with like using the contrasting colors. So I'm going to leave it as is, but for a last step, if you wanted to, you could go back and on like the yellow and purple paper or whatever color you choose to use, you could add a pattern like stripes, stars, hearts, whatever you really like to put on your artwork. And just like that, our contrasting colors gumball machine is all finished. I'm going to get my area cleaned up and go find a safe place to let this glue dry on here. And I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful rest of your morning, your evening, or afternoon whenever you're watching this. Bye!